The Zombie Star, Solitude Unbroken. Chapter 1. Life in Isolation. Deep within the dense forest, far from the horrors of the zombie apocalypse, Klaus, a former Special Forces soldier, had found solace in a remote cabin. 2 years had passed since the world was overrun by the undead, and Klaus had managed to stay alive by relying on his impressive skills, resourcefulness, and maintaining a safe distance from major population centers. As the sun rose on another day, Klaus went about his morning routine with a sense of discipline that had been ingrained in him from his time in the military. He meticulously checked his traps and snares for any game, maintained the integrity of his makeshift home, and ensured the security of his surroundings. The former soldier had built a series of intricate defenses around his cabin, including hidden traps, surveillance points, and escape routes, all designed to guarantee his safety from any potential threats. The days had become monotonous for Klaus, but he found solace in the simple tasks that filled his time. Hunting, foraging, and tending to his cabin provided a sense of purpose and control amidst the chaos that now plagued the world. The isolation he had chosen was a lonely existence, but it was one he had come to accept and even appreciate. In the quiet moments between his daily activities, Klaus found his thoughts drifting to the past. He thought of the friends he had lost, the family he had left behind, and the mistakes he had made during the outbreak. His self-imposed exile was a way to distance himself from these painful memories and the heavy burden of guilt that haunted him. As he went about his daily tasks, Klaus also kept himself informed of the world beyond his secluded haven. He had salvaged a battery-operated radio from an abandoned campsite, and would spend his evenings scanning the airwaves for any news or updates on the state of the world. More often than not, he found only static and the occasional desperate plea for help. But these grim reminders only served to reinforce his decision to remain hidden. However, Klaus's isolated existence was about to change. Fate had a different path in store for him, and a chance encounter with a stranger would force him to confront his past and venture out into the world once more. As he embarked on a new journey, he would search for hope and redemption in a world ravaged by the undead. Chapter 2: A Chance Encounter. One morning, as Klaus ventured further from his cabin to survey the perimeter of his territory, he heard the unmistakable sound of human distress echoing through the woods. His instincts kicked in, and he cautiously followed the noise, unsure of what he might find. As he approached the source, he came upon a young woman, battered and terrified, running for her life from a group of relentless zombies. Without hesitation, Klaus sprang into action. Years of training and combat experience allowed him to swiftly dispatch the undead pursuers, one by one, with deadly precision. As the last zombie fell, the woman collapsed to the ground, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and gratitude. Though he had saved her life, Klaus was reluctant to invite her into his world. He had spent the last 2 years building his sanctuary, and the thought of jeopardizing his safety and solitude weighed heavily on him. The woman, who introduced herself as Lena, revealed that she was part of a group of survivors searching for a mysterious scientist, rumored to have a cure for the zombie infection. They had been separated during a particularly brutal zombie attack, leaving her to fend for herself. Despite his initial skepticism, Klaus found himself drawn to Lena's cause. Perhaps it was the spark of hope he saw in her eyes, or the opportunity to atone for his past mistakes. But something compelled him to agree to help her find her group and locate the scientist. As they prepared to leave the safety of his cabin, Klaus felt an uneasy mixture of trepidation and excitement. He knew that venturing back into the world, with all its dangers and uncertainty, would not be easy. But he also understood that this was an opportunity to make a difference, to help save humanity from the nightmare it had become. Together, Klaus and Lena set off on their journey, forging a tentative bond born out of necessity and a shared sense of purpose. Little did they know that the road ahead would be filled with trials and tribulations, forcing them to rely on each other's strength and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Unbeknownst to them, their quest for the cure would lead them not only to the mysterious scientist, but also into the heart of a sinister conspiracy that threatened the very fate of the world. Chapter 3: Trust and Skepticism. As Klaus and Lena journeyed together, their mutual trust deepened, and the two found themselves growing closer. Lena shared her knowledge of the group of survivors she had been part of and their ongoing quest to locate the mysterious scientist with the cure for the zombie infection. Initially skeptical, Klaus weighed his options and reflected on his own past, haunted by the choices he had made as a Special Forces soldier. The prospect of finding the cure offered him an opportunity for redemption and a way to contribute to saving humanity from the zombie threat. Finally, Klaus decided to join Lena and her group in their search for the elusive scientist. They returned to Lena's camp, where the other survivors greeted them with caution. It took some time for Klaus to earn their trust, but his skills and experience soon proved invaluable to the group. Under Klaus's guidance, the group began devising a plan to locate the scientist. They pooled their knowledge and resources, gathering every scrap of information they could find about the cure and its creator. The path ahead was uncertain, but with each new clue, they inched closer to their ultimate goal. As they prepared for the journey ahead, Klaus and Lena continued to build a strong bond. He took the time to teach her essential survival skills, while she offered him a sense of purpose and hope that he had long been missing. The stage was set for their journey to find the scientist and the cure, a quest that would challenge them in ways they could never have anticipated. Unbeknownst to them, the road ahead would be fraught with danger, betrayal, and the revelation of a sinister conspiracy. Chapter 4: Perilous Path. With a renewed sense of purpose, Klaus, Lena, and the group of survivors set off on their journey to find the scientist and the cure. Along the way, they encountered various challenges and obstacles, testing their resilience and adaptability. The group traversed treacherous terrain, from dense forests to crumbling cityscapes, where the signs of humanity's downfall were all too evident. The survivors soon discovered that the infected were not their only adversaries. They encountered hostile survivor groups, each with their own motives and methods for staying alive in the apocalyptic world. Some saw the group as a threat, while others sought to exploit their knowledge of the cure for their own gain. Trusting others became increasingly difficult, forcing the group to rely on each other more than ever. As they journeyed deeper into the infected territory, they faced a new and horrifying development: mutated zombies with unique abilities. These creatures were the result of the virus evolving, granting the undead terrifying powers that made them even more dangerous than before. The group had to adjust their tactics, using all their skills and resources to combat this new threat. Throughout these trials, Klaus and Lena's bond grew stronger. They relied on each other not only for survival but also for emotional support. As they faced each challenge together, the trust between them became unshakable, and their connection deepened. Despite the numerous setbacks and hardships, the group pressed on, fueled by their determination to find the scientist and the cure. Each step brought them closer to their goal, and they knew that giving up was not an option. The fate of humanity depended on their success, and they would stop at nothing to ensure the future of the world. Chapter 5: Unraveling Secrets. As Klaus, Lena, and the group drew closer to the scientist's hidden laboratory, the stakes became even higher. They had faced numerous obstacles and risks, but they knew that finding the cure was their ultimate goal. With each passing day, the urgency of their mission became more apparent, driving them to push forward despite their exhaustion and the ever-present dangers. Finally, they discovered the scientist's secret laboratory, cleverly concealed within an abandoned military facility. Cautiously, the group infiltrated the compound, prepared for any potential threats that might await them inside. What they found within the facility was both enlightening and horrifying. As they explored the laboratory, they uncovered evidence of the sinister conspiracy that had been manipulating the zombie outbreak from the shadows. The group realized that the cure was only one piece of the puzzle, and they had stumbled upon a much larger, more complex web of deceit and corruption. This revelation left them with more questions than answers, setting the stage for a new chapter in their fight against the zombie threat. Despite the shock of their discovery, the group could not afford to lose focus on their primary objective: finding the cure. Time was of the essence, and they had to act quickly before the shadowy organization behind the conspiracy could carry out their plans. The group had come too far to turn back, and they knew that their journey was far from over.